Today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I grew a home insurance website from $30,000 per month to over $200,000 per month. I just finished this case study and I'm going to be going over some of the reports that I used, my SEO strategies, my conversion rate strategies, my link building strategies. This happened over about a 12-month span of time, and the strategies that I deployed to grow this website from $30,000 to $200,000 per month you can use right now. So let me just jump into my screen here and we can go through the case study line by line. So again, what we're gonna cover, the first reports that I used to help power the growth of this site, the SEO audit I did to get my hands around everything, some quick wins on the SEO side to 2x traffic in 3 months, some conversion rate strategies that I used to increase revenue per visitor here by 30% in 2 months. What did I do for link building, and what did the team structure look like? So that's what I'm going to be covering. And all of these strategies I teach in my Blog Accelerator program. So definitely check that out if you're interested in learning more about how I teach blogging and SEO strategy. It's all right in that course. So let's talk about the background. So this site was bought in May of 2020, right during COVID. The previous owners had held this site for about 18 months and had been stagnant. And they're like, let's sell this site and make sure that we can weather the COVID storm. And that's ultimately how we were able to secure it. And it was the first thing that I worked on when I joined 3 ships. And I was able to actually 6x it again from 30,000 to 200,000. So it's a really great example of, a lot of people, they talk to me like, Shane, I can't really grow my site. Should I sell it? I'm like, you're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. And this is a really great example of how I could capture additional value from a site that other people think there's not a lot of value to capture. So the first reports that I created once I rolled on, as soon as I roll on to any site, either a brand new site from scratch or an existing site, there are 3 reports that I create. The content log report, a content performance report, and content roadmap. These 3 reports are key to helping manage the site. A content log report, all that is URLs in one column, they're all rows, and then columns with the target keyword, the slug, what else do I have in here? Cohort, date published, and published URL, which is the slug. These are important data points because every single piece of content that is published on the site should live somewhere. And in this case, it lives in the content log. That's commercial content and informational content all in here. And you can use ClickUp. I tend to use G Sheets for this. At the time, the site only had 65 pages, so it was really easy for me to just create this report. Sometimes there was another site that I worked on last year that I'm going to be doing a case study on that had 500 pages. A site that I'm working on right now has over 8,000, so it's a big content log, so they can vary in size. Content performance report. This one is more to measure the performance over a span of time. So usually what I'll do is I'll measure traffic, revenue, rank as of the last day of the month of the report, take rate, and conversion rate for about 30 days or a quarter, or sometimes the whole year. But usually 30 days or a quarter is the thing. And the reason you do this is to figure out where you're making your money. Where is the money coming from on your site? Is it from, best dog beds, or is it from how, can dogs eat bananas? You don't know until you actually do your reporting. You may think it's all coming from the best articles, but sometimes informational content can actually be making you a lot of money. And unless you build a report like this, you don't quite know. The thing about this report, though, is it requires you to have good data. You gotta have page attribution data, you gotta have take rate, you obviously have to know your traffic. All these things are required to put this report together. So there's a little bit of setup there, but very much an important report for me. Content roadmap, this is just the content we're gonna go create. Usually I'll do the first 2 reports and that'll tell me where the money's being made. So I'll put that on the roadmap to go produce more of it. Pretty straightforward, nothing crazy going on. When we created the content performance report in July, we could see that content performance. So the cool thing about a content performance report is that you can see, because every single article that I add to my content log, I have a date published. So this way, in the future, in July of the following year, we can see that, what did we produce in July of 2020, and how is it doing today in July 2021? You can see how it ages and the ROI you get back on that content. So again, this is just an example of how good reporting can help you figure out where your money's coming from and ultimately how your decisions are turning out. So we did all that for this site. And then I conducted an SEO audit to find some hidden issues plaguing the site. So once you get all those reports done, I usually run an SEO audit that looks something like this. So with SEO, and I'll just take a minute to get on my soapbox. SEOs like to overcomplicate everything. And I don't know why. I think it's just human nature. Like, we like to just turn over every rock and like just go too far. There is very much an 80-20 approach to doing an SEO audit. Yes, there's like a million technical SEO things you can cover, a million like page optimizations you can do. But like from an 80-20 perspective, what can you do like as little, like 20% of the effort to get 80% of the results, right? That's the 80-20 sort of idea. And in this case, the 80-20 way I go about approaching this site is running a report or just having a crawl with Screaming Frog and then using Ahrefs. So what I do with Screaming Frog is just like, hey, are the internal links on this site going to 404s and pages that don't exist? Let's fix that. Are there 301 redirect chains? Let's fix those. Are there canonicals set up correctly? Are they pointing to the correct pages? Let's fix those. How deep does the site architecture go? If a VIP page that is making us $10,000 a month, which AKA go back to the content performance report, if that's making us a lot of money and it's like ranked 10, and I find that it's like 10 clicks from the homepage, oh man, easy win. Let's like link to it from the homepage. Let's link to it from another page that's higher up in the architecture and see if that moves rank. This is what these things start to do. How well are our VIP pages internally linked? Again, this goes back to the content performance report. I don't even know which one my VIP pages are until I do that report. And then I can see, are these pages well linked throughout the site? If they are, great. Then we can check that off the list. If they're not, then we have something to go do. Are our topics relevant? Do we have clustering? That's a easy one. With Ahrefs, you don't really get these reports out of Screaming Frog, so you need Ahrefs, but you want to know if there's any broken links pointing to your site, like other sites pointing to your site to pages don't exist anymore for some reason. Usually when you buy sites or sites that you take over from other people, there's going to be like legacy content that was deleted for some reason. You just want to get all that cleaned up and make sure that if there's any outbound links, if there's any links from other websites pointing to 404s on your site, you want to clean that up and reclaim that link equity. Do my most powerful internal links point to VIP pages, right? Ahrefs has a way of scoring internal links, right? So if they say, hey, this page over here about, what can dogs eat is like a UR rating of like 30, and I have this VIP page over here, like best dog beds, I'm going to link those pages together. Or I'll find something relevant to do that. But the idea is just find those high UR pages, and I did that with this site. So here are some quick wins that I was able to implement on this site that I saw immediately. So the first thing was featured snippets. So when I rolled onto this site, I noticed that none of their content was optimized for featured snippets. This was an easy thing for me to go do. In fact, at the time, I had only one intern helping me with this site. So I had them, basically what I did was I created a snippet of content and I had them create it for every article on the site, just duplicate it, but tweak it for the specifics of the site. And we were able to increase featured snippets from like over here, it's like 19% or sub 15% to over 35%, which increased traffic by 40%. So huge lift just by doing that one thing. Now, featured snippets today aren't quite as popular as they were back then, but they still are out there, and it's always worth doing something like this. And the next thing I did was intros to the content. So I'm a big fan of good intros with hooks. So I'll always do some kind of sentence or two saying, hey, if you're trying to learn about what are the best dog beds for pugs, you're in the right place. In this article, you're going to learn about bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3. Stay tuned. Like that way people get really quick understanding of what they're going to get, and you're optimized for SEO. So it works out. In this case, we saw some nice incremental boosts on some indirect signals. I'm a big advocate on optimizing for dwell time, bounce rate, pages per session. So all of these things, you can see that we were able to get 3% additional dwell time across all the pages that we added this to. We were going to increase pages per session, bounce rate drops. These are all great signals. Now, this is not like game breaking. I mean, it's good, but it's not like amazing, right? We'll take the win. Obviously, we would not want to do the opposite direction, but at the end of the day, seeing this win is great. Also, one big thing that this site had that was wrong was the homepage was optimized for a VIP page. So think like in the dog niche, you might have a page like best dog bed, right? And you might optimize for that term on the homepage because you're like, oh, the homepage has the most power, it's the most equity pointing to it, all of that. And that's true. But the issue with that is then the homepage can't really be a homepage anymore. You have to optimize it for that term. Now, this website had that problem. The original owners were like, let's optimize the homepage for the best keyword, which makes sense. And they were ranking for it. But there was also other pages on their site that were also trying to rank for that keyword. So immediately what I did was I re-architected the whole site to rank for the target keyword, but on a inner page. So we re-optimized the homepage to be a homepage. We de-optimized it for the VIP. We took a different page. We optimized that page for the target term, and we saw some great wins as a result. Let me show you. So in this case, you can see that when we did that, 12 months later, we went from 15 to 4 for a very much a VIP keyword. This win alone was worth about $30,000 per month because this page was worth so much money to this business. Now, breadcrumbs, another easy win. This website did not have any breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs are an easy win to just implement across the site. It helps Google understand relationships. You add schema, easy win, no problem there. We deleted about 20 pages that had no traffic. We 410'd them. That was an easy win. We did an internal link audit. Again, another easy win. We just figured, hey, where are the most powerful pages from a UR perspective, and then we just pointed those pages to our VIPs. It's not rocket science, right? This is pretty easy SEO stuff, but it gets lost in the sauce when there's so many things to do. These obvious things can get lost. CRO strategy, right? Pop-ups was an easy win for us. We added podiums. So you can see here, this is an example of a podium on US News. US News is a really great example of a highly commercialized news asset, news website. This specific podium is extremely dense with content. Now, the existing website that I had, this is a panel. This is actually not a podium. The website that we bought had panels. It didn't have podiums. So we implemented a podium so that not only do you have a panel, but you also had a podium. So you had more commercial widgets to monetize traffic. Super helpful, super relevant. Other things we did, Harrow. I mean, Harrow, it's like you should always do Harrow on the site if you can do it. We did broken link building. There were a bunch of brands that went out of business. And what we did was we created pages on our site that talked about that. And then we pitched the people that were linking to the broken pages and said, hey, that business is gone. They're out of business. We have a report about what happened. You should link to us. And it worked. Digital PR, again, I've talked about this ad nauseum. Digital PR works. Create surveys, create firsthand data, pitch it hard, and it works. And we built a bunch of really great, hard to build quality links that you just can't get anywhere else. Relationships and vendors. I've talked about this a lot. We had, I've been in the SEO industry for quite a while. As soon as I rolled onto this site, I tapped my industry connections, and we started building really high quality links through relationships and vendors. And then team structure. So I mentioned earlier, we had an intern. That's pretty much all we had. It was me and an intern working on this site, and then I hired a couple of freelance writers, and that's it. Not a crazy big team. I hear it all the time. I don't have enough time in the day. Like, you can do this if you just have a game plan. And this case study is a really great example of like really highly potent SEO done in a very surgical way, right? There's a lot of things we didn't do. And I didn't cover quite all of those things in here, but given how much experience I have in the game, I just know what to focus on and what to deprioritize when I work on sites. And you can see here some of those examples. So that's pretty much it. Again, if you like this kind of stuff, you should sign up for my Blog Accelerator program. These types of strategies are what we cover there. And at the end of the day, doing what I did for this site, I can do it for your site, or I can at least help you, guide you. I'm not going to specifically work on your site, but I can show you sort of the playbooks that went into this sort of thing and what goes into 6xing a site in a year. I have another case study that's coming up soon. I'll link it in the description of this video when it's published, and I'll include a link to the video in one of these cards when it gets published as well, so you can read that one as well. That one's actually a bigger growth. We 10x that site, so I can't wait to share that one with you. But if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the video. Leave a comment down below if you have a question about anything I covered here. Yeah, that's all I got for you in today's video. Talk to you soon.